apologies for being very late with this one. Last week we had part 3 of this season's manhunt, and I wanted to get a group of us together to have a discussion in podcast format. So I did get the recording done last week, but I've only just got around to uploading it today. So here we are with me. Hello, Tetris and Ozone from the community. We're just discussing what we found out in part 3 of that manhunt and where we think this season is going in terms of the story and beyond. So that is today's discussion. Do get involved in it as well down in the video comments. I appreciate you watching. Enjoy the podcast. Okay, welcome. Welcome to the Safehouse Podcast 2. We've got Hello, Ozone and Tetrix. I nearly forgot your name then. You're joining us today to discuss Season 3, the end of Season 3 of the Division 2. And we're just going to discuss today our thoughts on the recent comments we got, the recent footage we got, and where we think Season 3 is going to be ending. Because I think this manhunt this week gave us a lot of questions. Probably more questions than answers. And there's a lot of talk about where it's going to be ending. I've got my own thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts today. I was just thinking we could start with having a look at that footage and going over this week's com. And then we'll get your thoughts on it, guys, yeah? So this is the found footage that we got at the end of this week's manhunt. It's an Echo. Agent Kelso discovers an Echo. So let's have a quick look at this. I'm going to show the footage now.
Warmer. Cold. Warmer. Cold. Red hot.
Echo detected. Glad you could make it, Cassandra. And now, before you say anything, I want you to take a deep breath and promise you'll keep an open mind. I need you to listen to me, to truly listen, and be open to admitting that maybe, just maybe, you were wrong. I don't expect you to trust me, but I think we can help each other with our little hunter problem. Oh, I know you must be thinking, hey, what could Aaron Keener possibly tell me about the hunters that I don't already know? You think me and my rogues have been targeting the division? This couldn't be further from the truth, Faye. If you really want to stop the hunters, I can stop them. Well, I can't. But if we work together, we might stand a chance.
What the fuck? Present detected. Two-factor authentication required.
Before I go into the com, something from that found footage there. Now, obviously, at the start of the season, Kelso got this watch. It's Cassandra's watch and as a present, and she's basically following the breadcrumbs, right? That footage is based, to me, that's the end of the breadcrumb. There's the present, and she gets electrocuted. On that footage there, just like on the first cutscene that we got at the start of the season, there's an unknown presence detected. Just got to quickly start it again, the top right corner. When it's not on until she gets to the room. Oh, I'm not going to watch it all again. But when she's in the room with Keener's Echo, it says unknown presence detected. So I think that person that we saw in the first found footage at the start of the season is also in that room wherever she is. Some people are saying it's close to Haven. You can actually go and find it. But also along with that, we got the com as well. If we go into comms, and it's Manhunt Vanguard. We keep on getting letters. So it's the third letter from Kelso. I knew Cassandra wasn't a traitor. It's just been confirmed that Cassandra is Fei Lao, as far as I'm concerned. So I knew Cassandra wasn't a traitor. I wish she could have told me what she was up to, but I get it now. I understand why she couldn't tell me, why she couldn't tell anyone. She needed to get the key first. We have the key. Find me. I have so much to tell you. Okay. And if you listen to some of the other audio logs that we got while we did this manhunt this week, it kind of confirms that Fei Lao is Cassandra. There's discussion about choosing Fei Lao or Kelso. When Keener needed someone from the inside of the division, they chose Fei Lao. And now I just want to quickly share what I think from all of this. It's kind of just been revealed before you guys have a chat and share your opinion. And it's, for me, in these comms and everything we're seeing, it's kind of like Keener's just confirmed that everyone thought he was against the division, but instead he's against the hunters. That's his problem. And it's as if Keener's overall goal was to stop the hunters, but it's like he couldn't have done it by himself, which is why he needed Fei Lao. We took care of Fei Lao, and Kelso's kind of picked up the breadcrumbs, and now Kelso's found out what Fei Lao knew, which is why she wished Fei Lao could have told her, but she understands why she couldn't. Now, she's obviously rogue. She can't talk to the division. She needs us to find her. And going back to the first podcast that we did on this at the start of the season, I do think it's leading to a storyline where we go rogue with Kelso to finish Keener's plan, what he was trying to do. For me, there's no other way. I think at the end of the season, we're going to find out that Keener was working towards a greater good. He's got some great information for us that we need, but for whatever reason, we got to keep a secret from the division, and we got the key to get what we need to do done, whatever that is. And I believe that key is going to be Schaefer. It's the only thing that makes sense. We got Schaefer in a coma right now, and I think Sokolova wanted Schaefer. So he is the key. He's the key to all of this, to whatever information we're about to find, which is going to lead into the next story arc, which goes into the next season or even the DLC. And I think it will be personally us going rogue with all this information, and we're going to be using Schaefer as the key to take down the hunters. Because it's all around the hunters. These comms that we listen to, if you listen to what Aaron Keener's saying and everything else. I'm not fully clued up on the story, though. But this is what we were discussing in stream the other night. And that is where my head was going and agreeing with. But what do you guys think? Who wants to go first? I think Hello should go first, because I know you've got a lot to say.
I just don't really know where to start.
There's a lot, yeah.
This is what I mean. Every time you think you know something, you get thrown another curveball, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So, that footage, from looking at it last night and looking at it again, one thing I did notice is the SHD logo on the cache itself. It's only half illuminated, so that might mean we are also physically a key as well as Schaefer. Is that how you say it?
I think so.
Because we've got Keener's watch, haven't we? So our watches somehow have Anna, and then Kelso's got Fei Lao's watch. So maybe it's the two watches, the two different units, maybe unlock Diamond or something. Because we've not really heard much about Diamond and the Black Tusks, Isaac, have we? So I'm wondering if that's something to do with it.
I never thought of that. Is that what you were on about early before recording? Something that hasn't been said. I didn't think about the watches, but you're right, because Kelso's got Fei's watch. We've got Keener's watch. Are they the key instead?
I think that's definitely how we're going to open the box. But then it depends when the footage was. Because if that's past tense and Kelso's since writing us letters, so like a lot of people have said, oh, is Kelso dead? Well, where have the letters come from? And then people said, well, she's been kidnapped. Well, whoever her kidnapper is surely must be on her side for her to still be able to give us the letters. So all my initial theories was that she was going to be kidnapped and we were going to go to Brooklyn and we were going to go and save her or go rogue. She must be working with whoever's kidnapped her as such. So whether or not she's just woken up again, but that's the issue with this. I can't find the timeline in my head, because that video footage should be in the past. So she should be up and about and walking somewhere, surely. I don't know if that's just my... So does that mean that the box has already been opened? But that was my theory about the box anyway. Next time you have a look at the ring around it, it's only half illuminated, because I thought, oh, that looks like a smiley face.
I did not notice that. That's a good spot.
So I don't know. I think whatever's in that box is something. Obviously, it is something, but I think it might have something to do with the BTSU comms. Personally, I think it might be something like Diamond, and that's how we access it. And then that's when Schaefer comes into it because he can then access it. But there's so many descent comms I haven't got, so someone else might be able to help with that. But I think there's like an underground bunker or something for the hunters, or I'm not 100% sure. This is what I'm saying. Every time I say something, I think of something different, and it's driving me potty.
We're only 3 weeks away from finding out, I guess. But anyone, any more to add to that, or any more views on that?
Where to start? I mean, Hello kind of covered much of the ground, I would say, but I would say this. When we started, I would say, first of all, the Kelso kidnapping thing could not be it's possible. Kelso could be kidnapped in the future for next season, but I would say it's more of like Kelso leaving the notes to, she's going incognito, because if you looked at from the notes from the past 2 investigations, not this one currently, she said that she knows that she's being followed. Who's she being followed? Most definitely is Black Tusk, because if we go back to last season, we're introduced by the hunter himself, Agent Johnson, and we already know that Black Tusk have eyes and ears everywhere. And no, I'm not talking about the stalkers that casually peep at you in Washington, and every time you try to shoot them, you disappear. You get the feeling. But straight to the point, we now know that Black Tusks seriously have eyes and ears around, no matter where you are. We're in DC, you're in New York, and anywhere else. The thing about Kelso is that because Kelso is getting shadowed by Black Tusk, she's leaving these notes that allow us agents to piece together to what we see. And it's kind of a coincidence as to why every final manhunt, it's a Black Tusk. It's going to be a Black Tusk bounty, possibly a Black Tusk bounty. So she's not the only one. Black Tusk is sending squads upon squads and to really cover ground and see what the hell is even happening. What's Kelso doing exactly? So it could be Kelso is reaching the truth, but she knows Black Tusk is just right behind her, waiting to see it for themselves, to really put a stop of it. But there's a lot of stuff to go about. But to also add, I also want to point out something as well, and what Keener, and it's more like, how did Keener come up with this? Now, a personal habit of every manhunt I would do is, after I complete the manhunt, I would go back to Safe Haven, which big base of operations I would go to, and I would listen to all of the collectibles. Just after I saw the footage you Rock sent out to us to share with us, I immediately stumbled upon one of the collectibles bearing the same name, 2-factor authentication. And it's just a quick snippet of Keener and Parnell just discussing about the 2-factor authentication. What I think is that Keener didn't just create the Rogue network for the Rogue advantage. Keener might have created the Rogue network to study the Division network itself. Think about it. During Warlords, we were introduced by Parnell. If you collect the Parnell pieces or Keener's recordings, he said that they made a copy of Isaac's network, which basically turns into the Rogue network, which used Ana. It could mean Keener's just going into the dark end and analyzing the network himself. Of course, Black Tusk knows about the network. If you look at the Ascent recordings, they employed Ortiz to help create it. Well, if you have completed a bunch of Descent runs, not like me, to be honest, but there's enough data to point out that Ortiz kind of created the network, helped aid in creating the network. So Keener might have mirrored something out from kind of took something from the network, made his own, and kind of tested it in some way to see what works, what the functionalities and so on, and he might have spotted something within the network that could have been a perfect weapon against the hunters. And that's really kind of my thought of it. It's other side stuff being Vanguard, the name of the season, Vanguard, which if you're eagle-eyed to realize that, get this, Vanguard is the call sign of Keener.
Yeah.
If you remembered back at Division 1, if you selected those Division 1 artifacts that showed the agent's profiles, Keener is Vanguard.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
No, carry on, sorry.
I mean, and then, yeah, as I was saying to you, Rock, earlier, that this not only shows us, but it kind of, like what Hello said, it's a twist of turn. It's a shocking twist to learn that all the warlords we have known for aren't really some bastardized people who are either a flame-throwing psychopath or king of the Rikers, or just a predator in the Irma jungle. You get what I'm saying? Where I'm getting,
yeah.
But we see a kind of a lighter side to it, that they're not the rogues that we know of, but they showed some humanity in it, and that's why you see majority of the comms that are like more socializing. We hear not just Keener, but we also hear familiar people. Viper, which is the first target we took down during Lau's season, during Lau's manhunt. We hear Merit, which, don't get me wrong, most of the collectibles are from the past. It was within the first manhunt that we got introduced to Mackenzie, or Mac, because as Nat would call her, but we get Mac kind of coming to Haven after incursion. Well, after incursion. So all of these are like socials, which might not seem relevant to the theories we're coming up with, but it just shows a light that, okay, despite them being rogues, there's some sort of side of humanity that they still carry out the missions as intended. I mean, it's like saying they're agents, right? We are agents right now, but one of you is probably a rogue who loves killing other agents in the dark zone. I don't want to point fingers, or I don't want to assume anyone there. There's rogue or not, it could be something else instead.
Well, I think you're right. This is like, I know Kino went rogue. He's got all these rogue agents, but from what I've seen, and it's not the whole picture, so I could be wrong, but I think we'll get into where we think the season's going to end in a minute, but I do think we're going to find out that Keena's planned all this. Keena, very clever man. There's enough that I've seen to say that when we were at Liberty Island, Keena wanted us to find him there. He wanted us to get his watch. I feel like Keena got to a point where he couldn't continue his mission without us. So he then needed us, but obviously he's rogue, so he couldn't work with us. So that's why he chose Fei Lao to work with over Kelso at the time. And now it's Kelso's picking up the breadcrumbs. But this, and you see with the Echo, like that Echo that Keena's been able to manipulate before he died or whatever to get to the present, or whatever that was, he set all this up. He knows, he's very clever. He knows what job needs doing, which is why he went rogue in the first place. It doesn't take away all the bad stuff he's done, but there's a mission that needs doing. The hunters need to be taken down if it's them. And he's clever. He set all this up. And we're basically now picking up on Keena's mission and continuing it for him, which is why I think Kelso can't tell the division, because, you know, all the information she has, she could come back to Haven now and share it if she wanted to, potentially, if she's not kidnapped, etc. But she needs us to find her. She's got all this information to tell us. She needs us to find her. And I do think when we do find her, we're going to find out information where we're going to have to go rogue with her to finish Keena's task. And that's what I feel. But Ozone, you haven't had anything to say. Do you want to add anything before we move on?
I just have 4 things to say.
Go on.
Yep. The first thing is about the timeline, as Hello was already saying that she's kind of confused about the timeline of this whole manhunt. I believe the timeline is during the past two seasons, the Mari Singh manhunt and then the recruiter manhunt, because Kelso went to Haven after the end of season 3 in year 5, sorry, year 4, I think. The stovepipe manhunt, at the end of that, she went to Haven. So, up until now, the start of this manhunt, she was MIA, if you know what that means. So we are tracking her movements during those past two seasons, now that we are in New York. That's the first thing that I believe about the timeline. The second thing is the point that you mentioned about Kina being a smart person, that has been referenced a lot in the Division 1 as well as in Warlords of New York, in saying that Kina always thought he's the smartest person in the room. But when he realized, and it wouldn't be a lot far fetched in saying that, Keena knows Natalia, Keena knows McManus. There is a good chance he knows McManus because obviously he reports to him directly or indirectly. But he also knows about you can say, pact between McManus and Natalia about the whole BTSU and Hunters thing. Second point. Then the third point is, uh, it has been clearly mentioned that Faye is Cassandra, and Keena at one point, when Kajika died, after that, he's been talking with Viper, and he realizes that Kelso and V that took down Kajika, they are very good at their jobs, and he's contemplating whether choosing Faye was the right decision or whether he should have chosen Kelso in a place. That is being said. And that leads to another thing, that is, Kelso considered Faye kind of like her mentor, someone who she looked up to, and she never believed that Faye went rogue for the wrong reasons. And maybe she's realizing now that why Faye went rogue was directly under the influence of Keena and the bigger picture they both saw. Also, because there is one similarity between Faye Lau and Brian Johnson, they both worked towards the mission. The difference was they both believed in a different mission.
Okay.
Yeah, Johnson, at the end of the recruiter manhunt, Johnson said that I am on mission, you are the ones who are not. Because he believed what McManus told him about what the mission is. Faye Lau always, she was always ready to accept authority, and she always believed what the division's mission was to enable continuity of government or whatever you call that. And because she was made to realize that there is a bigger problem than rogue agents and Black Tusk, etc., only staying on mission and what she thought was right, she aligned with Kina. Because if you take Faye Lau as she was, the character that we know from the Division 1, we'll say that she would never align with Kina, who's a rogue agent, who has killed a lot of innocents and etc. But if you present the problem, which Kina always says there's a bigger picture, if he was able to present the bigger picture to Lau, telling her that what she believed in the division, was nothing but a hoax, and McManus's intentions are far worse than he shows, then there is a very good chance Lau was turned towards a rogue. So there are a lot of things which need answering, and maybe this manhunt doesn't end the after 3 weeks when we get the new
So,
targets,
yeah.
there is a very good chance that the manhunt doesn't end. We may even they may even add to the story in the next season as Tetrix added. So there are a lot of uncertainties at this point, but one thing that is certain is Kina believed going rogue was the only way to defeat the Black Tusk and Hunters at their own game. Kelso also believes that. And now she's trying to make us believe that too. Because she knows the division by themselves are not capable of taking down the Black Tusk and the Hunters. Yes, we can cause some damage here and there, but Natalia, being the smart woman that we have we have been shown that she is, there's a very good chance she knows a way out of this. Because if you want to say that, she has McManus in her pocket, and McManus has hunters who most of the time have the better of us.
Mm-hmm. You make
Just to jump in, while you two both have just been speaking, both Kina and Faye have both died for this cause, and that has just clicked to me.
Mm-hmm.
Before I saw it as a mission, but like when you were talking about Kina a minute ago, G, I was thinking, do you know who that reminds me of? Tony Stark. You know, this rich boy, pretty boy, and then his character arc goes from being this selfish person to then essentially he sacrifices himself at the end. So if you think of Kina and looking at all the comms that we've just recently had, he's saving civilians and taking them to his secret safe house somewhere. He's still doing good in the months of all of this. And when you just said, well, he wanted us to catch him and he wanted us to die because he knew that he couldn't do it on his own, he's essentially sacrificing himself. And then the same with Faye. Faye knows quite well that she could have turned around and said, oh, Kelso or agent, I'm a double agent. You might not believe me. Just let this play out. But she didn't. She died for this cause as well. So when you look at it like that, that's a huge thing to have these two huge characters essentially sacrifice themselves. Like that's just dawned on me. I always saw it as it was a mission and they died. They were both prepared to die for this cause. So what is it? Like what?
Yeah. What?
I've started a new question now.
It's true,
Well,
yeah. You're right. They both died for this cause. They believed in it that much that they'd die for it. So what is it?
Just to add to what Hello said right now, it also struck me. In a lot of movies, you might have seen a concept that a person says, I have some information. If I die, that information would go to someone else, like news outlets or someone else. So, what if Keena's way of sharing information about what he knew about the entire bigger picture with the division was to die? He cannot he can't share the information directly by calling a meeting. Hey, I'm a rogue agent, come, we'll sit down and have dinner and talk about it. But what if his dying triggered a series of events through which we are now discovering the information that Kina had about the entire BTSU and Hunters? He knew he wouldn't be able to see this through. That's why he recruited Fei Lao. She got embedded with the Black Tusk with the help of Schaefer and discovered that Schaefer was the key. So she communicated it to us and we got Schaefer. But after Lau died, even then there were contingencies in place that if Lau dies, someone else will get the information. Whoever kills Lau would kind of, you can say, killing Lau would be a way to show you are worthy. Like that same Avengers reference, Thor's hammer can only be picked by someone who is worthy. So maybe killing Lau was a test to show you are worthy of the information that Kina had acquired over the years. And maybe if that person realized what the actual problem was, they wouldn't even mind going rogue for the better.
How did Kelso get a hold of the watch? Cassandra's watch,
That
Faye's watch. Or does she have that because we killed her? Should he have that?
well, you can say that every agent we have the basic thing is what I believe is what you just said. Kelso always had Lao's watch after her death.
After her death. And that
Because yes.
because that just when she goes back, she's had that watch since Faye's been dead then, and it only triggers when she gets back to New York. And we see that figure in Haven. So that first cutscene, there is a figure there. There's an actual person in Haven that is unknown. So it's like they know she's back, and all of a sudden the watch goes off. So that goes along the lines of she's being kidnapped, which Hello was saying before, and it was that figure that we see in Haven. So if we're talking Black Tusk kidnapping her, well, how did they get in Haven?
Well,
In one of her, one of her notes, doesn't she say she knows who's following her?
Yeah.
I'm sure she says that that someone, she knows who it is, and they've got 9 lives. So she thinks it's a she. I can't remember exactly what it said, but I'm sure it said that she knew who was following her. Cassandra was right. I might be mixing them all up here.
Shall
But
we?
there's something about 9
you are
lives.
right. You are right. It's written in the second note. It's in the second note.
Should we get the 3 notes up and read all through them?
Yep,
Or
we can do that.
we can just pass that. I'm just thinking. I remember the 9 lives bit now.
And I'm sure she said, I think someone's following me. It's probably her or something. So Kelso has a person in mind that she thinks is the person following her.
What if I would
It's
say, what if...
sorry.
Sorry.
If I could just read what Hello was saying, it says, I think someone is following me. It's probably her. I swear she has more lives than a cat. But soon they are going to run out. Cassandra was right. There is more here. And the hunters and the Black Tusk. Well, they may have the tech, but we can take it away from them. We just need the key.
So that to me says that she thinks it's someone. She knows who it might be because she thinks it's probably her. So again, unless you go back to it's Faye Lau and she's alive, and that's that theory. It could be a theory. What stranger things have happened.
The
But
only
it's
thing that
someone that must have
contradicts
already
that
died.
is the last note where she's
Yeah.
saying, I knew she wasn't a traitor, and it kind of shows still her admiration for Faye Lau, doesn't it? But who could it be?
What I can gather from this note is it's not Faye Lau who's following her. It's someone from her past that we do not know, because she's saying that soon she has more lives than a cat, but soon they are going to run out. So that means she's talking about someone who she sees as an enemy rather than a friend.
And what were you going to say, Tech Tricks?
I mean, it could be a bunch of things. It could be Cassandra, could be could be someone else. We thought it was gonna be Faye, but if you listened at the footage carefully, Keener actually mentioned Faye's name. It could be someone he assigned. He could be someone he assigned to this mission. Remember, the mission, that collectible I mentioned before, is a clandestine mission. So it could not been one of the agents. Oh, if Faye was alive, it could have been her. But as far as we know, we took a bullet. We just shoved a bullet in her, and buried her in wherever it is. Well, from the manhunt mission at the Camp White Oak. And then coming from that first footage, that unknown figure Hello mentioned, it could have been an agent because, well, Haven, as we know, is probably locked down tight, locked down to a point where, okay, agent comes in, no, don't care. But what if it could be just a civilian? what if could it be is a what if it's just a spectator, a spectator who witnessed our doings in Warlords of New York, who was put there to see to it, and there was a point where when we have reached the point that we pass the test, Keener would have signaled them saying, "This is them. You know what to do." It could be a civilian. It could be someone Keener, I wouldn't say manipulated, but assured them that this is what you need to do. Do this and do that. That's it. It could be something relatable to the collectibles because Keener and his fellow agents and his team, the warlords, kind of helped civilians to evacuate. What if from those civilians he just said, here's my favor to you, a favor that he passes to them when they get to Haven or something. What if just from the start, from the beginning, this test that Keener put us through with from the collectible on us killing Kajika, what if those agents, Kajika, Dragov, Parnell, Vivian, Connolly, what if they're just tests or something that Keener has just put us through by sacrificing his own fellow rogue agents, and see what we can do.
Okay.
I mean, there's a bunch of theories to that, I would say. And
When did
I'm
the
just thinking
incursion
parts.
come out in the seasons? What?
That's
I
season
believe
Where
it
is
two.
was
that?
last season, right?
Yeah, October
Because
season
Yeah, last
2.
season.
Someone else picked it up earlier. Merritt has been in a lot of comms. So are we not thinking outside the box here? That could be her. Where did she get evacuated after we saved her from the cleaners?
Haven.
So
Haven.
So she's in Haven. Can she slot into this timeline that we've potentially come up with? Could that be her? Because we know she's got a connection to Keener. She is visibly upset. Like, you can hear it in her voice when they find in one of the comms when she finds out that Keener's dead. Obviously, there's a lot of flirting going on. They all went round the same circle. So that it could be her.
It would make sense. Mackenzie is basically like this middleman, this middle person. She interacted with Natalia Sokolova. She interacted with Keener, and then she interacted with Haven. It could be something. It could be her, possibly.
You could have hit the nail on the head there. Hello.
Possibly.
Because she wouldn't. Maybe the system wouldn't have known who she is to start with. If she's just been evacuated to Haven, obviously they know that she's a civilian and she's been saved. Maybe that's why she's an unknown presence. Maybe she's part of the key that we needed. Not as much as Schaefer, but just what I mean. The comms are very focused on her and Keener. That gave me the impression when I was listening to it that they eventually do get into a relationship. That kind of, so if anyone's going to know Keener's secrets, it's going to be someone that they're putting in our face and giving us a lot of information about, which is Merritt or
yeah.
Mackenzie. So I'm wondering if that's her.
I'd be surprised if they didn't increase Mackenzie's importance in the coming seasons. Just because of the fact that a lot of comms have her. And to what Hello's saying, I think that's a very good theory about her involvement. But then about her being the unknown, yes, she can be, and maybe she can't be, because if we say that Haven is a very secure place, it is, you can say there's a very good chance they have everyone who is in Haven currently on their books. They can easily identify via recordings who went, who came in, who went out, and who was where at any point in time. Because roads, we always know roads is a kind of a, you can say, uh, what is the exact word? Well, he doesn't trust people. So even though he feels that it is his responsibility, he made Haven, but still he would always keep a watch on everyone who is coming in and going out because you never know who comes in. Anyone can pose as a civilian, and there is no way you can do a complete background check on everyone. He let Faye in, and he got very upset when we came to know that she was a rogue. He was never uh, he never accepted that the division should have existed, and with the powers they had. So it is a very yes, you can say, but I think he has a surveillance system which can track everyone who comes in and out of Haven and identify them. So there is has to be someone who is using some sort of disrupting technology which hides them from the surveillance.
Mm.
Because if anyone can get into Haven, there is a very good possibility the Haven will end up like the White House in the stovepipe manhunt. And also to the point of Mackenzie, we have seen that Natalia had been close to two people in her life. One was her brother Felix, and one was Mackenzie. After Natalia directly or indirectly killed her brother, which she kind of vaguely refers to in a com with Mackenzie, there is a very good chance that Mackenzie is the person who can tell us how Natalia thinks because she's known her since childhood, and maybe that would help us in figuring out how Natalia thinks in a particular situation, what she is going to do if something is done to her, because we have seen that Natalia has always been smart about how she is dealing with Division and McManus at the same time. She knows in the back of her mind that Division are just cowboys, but the real threat to her is McManus and his hunters. That's why is always skeptical about whenever she's talking with McManus. So knowing how she thinks may go a long way in defeating BTSU if that turns out to be the end game.
There's another thing that links them all together. Merritt's estate was to hold civilians, wasn't it, that got evacuated? Why was Merritt's estate, why was that targeted? That was just in its own little area. Unless Natalia is trying to kill Merritt. So it
If
all...
you, sorry to interrupt.
No.
Just to answer your question, why the estate was attacked, if you hear the comms from the incursion, there's a very direct reference when Natalia is talking to Wright, the boss, the hunter cleaner boss. She's directly ordering him to attack the estate and kidnap Merritt. To which Wright was very surprised when he heard the word kidnap and not kill.
So why did they want her?
Exactly.
Well, I think it's all speculation at this point. I think that Natalia fears that if the division gets a hold of Mackenzie, they can unravel all the past that Natalia has had with Mackenzie, and maybe Mackenzie helps them in figuring out how Natalia thinks. Because if we do not know how the enemy thinks, how are we going to counteract them? Yes, you can win the small battles, but the war is always won by who thinks two steps ahead.
Which Keener is known for.
Yes.
Just to interrupt
exactly.
then, just to listen to you talk. So, Sokolova wanted Mackenzie, kidnapped, not dead. We save Mackenzie, she's taken to Haven. There's a mysterious figure there. Kelso goes after this present, and someone's following her. Does Mackenzie know not to trust the division as well? And is she only willing to maybe share any information she's got with Kelso? Is she part of this present? Is she part of this bombshell we're going to find out at the end of the season?
I mean, it could be a possibility. I mean, we assume probably that Mackenzie never unearthed to Kelso or to anyone Haven that she had like deeper connections with Keener. I mean, of course we saw a hint of that from that comms of her being surprised about Keener's dead, but she didn't. But just the reaction herself of his death didn't really, reveal that he knew that she knew Keener a bit more. And then, I mean, I might be wrong on that part, but it is a possibility for. I lost track. I'll let the others explain it. I'll let the others take hold of that one.
What if Mackenzie is the silent partner of Keener in his quest to unravel the big picture? She's been close with Natalia. Keener is trying to unravel the network which involves Natalia to a very big extent. And he may have been using his relationship with Mackenzie to extract information about Natalia's organization.
I don't know about you, Hello, but I've got more questions. And when we started this...
I told you.
Right, we're 50 minutes in and we've got to look at closing this off. And I feel like there's more questions than answers again. But, okay, I'm going to ask each of you now then. So we're coming up to the end of the season. We've got to take into account that this season was meant to lead into the DLC. We've spoken about this before. It's not leading into the DLC because of the delay. So I imagine they're probably going to not give us everything at the end of this season and stretch it out. They're going to stretch it out for 3 more seasons, right? I believe the DLC comes after another 3 seasons. If you had to, I don't know, where do we think this is heading into the DLC?
Brooklyn,
yeah. That's a guarantee.
I mean, it is guaranteed Brooklyn, but I was going to say earlier that for the past couple of seasons, we were at twists and turns of Black Tusk having different goals, agents, rogue agents, so on. Hello's comment and saying is a twisting turn. It's probably we didn't just come from a twisting turn. No, we kind of somehow all of us end up into a crossroads where we just jumped on one road, then we just hopped over the next, and then hop over the next. Like for example, we saw Black Tusk's agenda on what they're trying to do. We saw it through Sokolova. We saw it through McManus, and then we saw it through Keener's agenda. But that was his agenda but the Eclipse thing was just to get our attention to Black Tusk. And then for some reason, Black Tusk diverted to Keener's true agenda. And then there's the Division's agenda. This agenda is sort of headed by Kelso upon discovering more. Again, it's a bunch of twists and turns. It could have been Brooklyn, and then for this next season, it could be to Brooklyn. It could be, but I'm thinking the final mission of this manhunt. It could be somewhere in New York, somewhere that it could be in any of the 5 missions, or possibly a new mission overall. That could show what it means. What it means. I mean, last season mission was at Camp White Oak again, for good reason, and then the other mission and so on. Where would the final mission be situated at exactly?
My guess, Liberty Island.
What it could be. That's what I'm thinking as
for
well.
This season.
That's what I'm thinking as well. Because I've been thinking that Liberty Island, we only saw the Eclipse side of it. Could there be more to what's there in Keener? What that Keener's been hiding there?
I believe in one of the comms it does say that he's got a secret rogue little place there. it's not an underground bunker. I can't remember what it's called, like a lair, essentially. So it could lead us to that.
Didn't one of the comments say something about like Keena's safe house where he takes people as
That's-
well? Is that what you're on about?
Yeah, something like that. I can't remember how they worded it, but it could be leading us there. I definitely think the last mission will be Liberty. I agree with you too there.
Yeah. People have been checking out. Sorry, go on.
I mean, I'm just saying, just a witty comment, just saying, just imagine seeing the actual virus printer that Keener stole from us at Division 1 from that area.
The room Kelso's in, knowing that footage we found where she gets shocked. Apparently, people are saying that room is next to Haven and you can actually go and find it. I haven't looked. Does anyone else? No,
I usually go down there and just pick up the resources that are there. You can't get into it, I don't think. If
can
it's
you
the same
not?
building,
Is it just? Yeah, I was wondering if there's anything seen there, but yeah, I do think it's got to take us to Liberty Island. I think. I think it's pretty clear we're probably going to join Kelso on this mission, right? If she's still alive, which I'm sure she is.
But, she 100% has to be alive. I don't think that she's dead. I might be wrong, but I don't think she'll be dead. But going back to what you said, that this should have been leading on to the DLC, what I said to you earlier before we started this is the one thing that I've not seen anyone notice is Faye Lau was from Brooklyn. That's where she originated from.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yes,
so I might be wrong, and I'm sure someone will put in the comments if I am, but I'm pretty sure she originated from Brooklyn. That's where she was activated from and things like that. So is the DLC going to be something to do with her? Could it be a far-fetched to say that Faye is still alive? I don't think she is. But that is what the devs are almost implying to us. The way that Kelso is wording things, yes, that she's talking about Faye in the past, but that could be for any reason. So I think that's the way they're trying to get us to go, but they're going to shoot the other way, if that makes sense. So I'm not much help at all. But yeah, Faye is apparently from Brooklyn.
That is interesting. I bet the developers watch stuff like this and listen to people's opinions. They're sitting there rubbing their hands like, just wait.
They'd be
just wait.
They'd be giggling themselves. They'd be like, man, we did a very good job of distorting the story so that no one can guess where it's headed.
I think they're doing a great job. I can't. I have no idea where this season's ending. I genuinely don't. I do think we'll go rogue with Kelso. I think there's a story arc coming where we go rogue, and the only reason being, for whatever reason, we cannot share this information with the division. Like, why not? Why can't we? I can't wait to find out why. I want to know why Kelso cannot share this information with the division and needs us to find her.
One possible explanation could be that she does not want to hurt Manny. Because what we have seen in the past season, especially in the Failao manhunt, Manny was very angry when he got to know that Lau, being a division agent, had went rogue, but didn't know the cause, didn't know the reason. And if Kelso does the same thing, then that would end up hurting Manny, because at this point he's already a lot hurt about everything that has happened with people he's known, with Mari getting kidnapped in season 1 and getting to know that the Natalia is not as easy of an enemy as he had thought her to be. So if what I think Kelso thinks is, if she's able to get Manny in her corner, understand why she is doing things that she is, that may put Manny at ease, as well as let Kelso focus on what she's trying to do. Because up until now, she's been conflicted about everything ever since Lau died. Yes, she was doing, trying to get her head straight, but she never could believe that Lau went rogue just because she felt like it. And maybe she's now getting to know the reasons. And what I believe about the future seasons is, I think there is a very good possibility that we get to know why the somewhat about the bigger picture that Keen has been talking about a lot, and also actually come to know about the importance of Schaefer in all of this, the importance of Mackenzie in all of this, and how and where that secret underground facility that Birdie was talking about in last season's Manhunt, where that facility is. Maybe it's located in Brooklyn, maybe it's not.
It makes sense to what you're saying there. So we'll probably find out a lot of information. We'll get what we want at the end of the season, but then we're going to learn more across the next few seasons, and then that's going to take us to Brooklyn.
Yeah, because it would have been very easy for the developers to kind of brief the entire story in just one season, but elaborate on it and stretch it to over 2 or 3 seasons if they needed it to be. So that we get to know a lot more background to the story, a lot more about the new characters that they've added, and some old characters that we kind of lost. Like Schaefer's been in coma since season 3.
The
And he
original
hasn't
season
waken up.
3.
Yep. He hasn't waken up. And even we get to know his real importance when Natalia attacked the White House at the end of the stovepipe hunt.
Yeah.
So maybe Schaefer suddenly wakes up from the coma, and it takes time for us to convince him to give up the secrets. Because there is a very good chance that Natalia does not have one underground facility, but several. Because if she has one and Schaefer still has access to it, then that would mean Natalia isn't as smart as she shows herself to be. Because that would be very stupid on her part, not to have backup plans.
Yeah.
So maybe Schaefer is just the key to the first step of unraveling the entire network of Natalia. There's a lot of speculation. Maybe the end of the season helps answer some questions rather than add to them.
I hope so. I really do. Well, to end this off now, just because we have been going for the hour, do you guys have anything final that you want to add? Starting with you, Hello.
It's Paul Rhodes, I'm telling you.
Paul Rhodes.
Paul Rhodes. Something about that guy.
do we know who a few seasons back there was someone within the division that was like a spy? Has that been all sorted? Was that the Hunter? Was that Agent Johnson? Or was there still someone?
That was Agent
It
Johnson.
was Agent Johnson. Okay. I thought so. I wasn't sure if that was fully unraveled yet, if there's still anybody potentially working on the inside in the division, which is why Kelso, again, maybe can't reveal anything, because she can't trust who it is. But yeah.
What if it's a hunter?
The
unknown figure. And what if we come face to face with him in the manhunt mission?
Definitely someone, isn't there? And if there is still someone working on the inside of the division with them, there is a mole, and that might have been that unknown figure you were saying before about having the capability of hiding yourself from the security systems or whatnot, but still having access to Haven at the same time. That would kind of make sense.
It wouldn't be far-fetched to think, because if we go to the roots of the division, they are basically sleeper agents who were activated in the time when the government fell. So maybe that person is a sleeper agent and not being of the division, but being a hunter or someone else or whatever. There's all speculation, but yep, maybe we know something more.
Maybe. I can't wait. This is the most excited I've been for a manhunt finish ever on this game. They've done a great job this season. Like, everybody's just wanting to know what's coming. And we find out in what, another 2.5 weeks, is it?
I think it's end of April.
Okay.
I can't seem to know.
And then we move on to year 6, right? This is the last season of year 5.
Yes.
Start year 6, 3 seasons of DLC.
Is the DLC after season 3 or is the season 3 the DLC?
Someone said in chat, I don't know, I'm going to go by what was said in chat, but they said there's going to be 3 more seasons before the DLC. So I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's what the timeline said.
So we've got 3 more seasons to cover from the end of this one, and then we're going to get hit with the Brooklyn DLC. And then possibly a Division 3 announcement. They would be very clever and tie this all into the Division 3 as well. Could be the Division 3 Keena's legacy.
The current games are not working, Ubisoft.
Well, thank you all for joining. We're going to get back together again for another podcast probably after the next Manhunt when we've a lot more is revealed and we got probably some more questions to ask, but hopefully a lot more answers, right?
Hopefully.
The last thing I want at the end of this season is more questions and answers. But I guess we'll see. Thank you all.
Don't get me wrong, we will probably get more questions than that.
Probably.